Okay, hopefully this is working now. Welcome to another songwriting session. I'm Borin Doulos of Borin Doulos Music. I started doing this a couple weeks ago. We've been doing a few different genres. Today I've got a new one in store that I am pretty stoked for. So this is going to be an intro for a podcast, a new podcast that a couple of friends of mine are doing. They've asked me to write the intro music for it. One of my friends, well, they're both singers, but one of them sent me an audio file of kind of some melodies they were thinking, the energy behind it. He told me kind of do, something in that ballpark, not to necessarily replicate it, but there's some good stuff in there that can be used for guitar. So we're going to be hitting drums, throwing some bass stuff in there, maybe some keys stuff. Whatever other elements are necessary, and of course, guitar. Now that's going to be a fun one because I recently downloaded Guitar Rig, and I've never used it before. So we might do a little run through on that on this episode as well. So what I've done here is loaded in my friend's audio. Now again, this is just his voice. It's going to be a little, you'd have to use some creative imagination with this. But I went ahead and figured out the tempo for it. It sits right at about 160. And I moved the file up a bit. I'll probably push it here, give me some space in the intro. And what we're going to do is the first thing we need to do to be able to layer this in right, to be able to put all the musical pieces together, is we need to chop up the audio file so that it fits the timing. This is kind of like going to serve as our scratch track. So the time needs to be, at least the right segments in the right places. Again, he said it doesn't necessarily have to sound exactly like this, but I'm going to use it pretty heavily as, especially namely for the guitar parts. Excuse me there. That's what's going to be kind of the influence there. So, without further ado, let's dig in. I'll show you without the click kind of what he sent me. So, again, we have a little bit of creative freedom there. But some of this is going to need resetting in the time. So here's with the click. Feels a little... Yeah, there we go. So it's actually going to be about 153. The way I'm determining this is I've got kind of these, it's really dotted accents. And hopefully I'm not clipping you there. Let me make sure I've got... I need to set a limiter on this for you. In the meantime, the way that okay, that should save us. So the way that I'm looking at this, I've got these dotted rhythms, right? So they kind of fall in odd places. But with the dotted rhythms, basically what we'd run into is, say we break this up into, I guess we'll call it just two measures here. you'd land this last accent kind of halfway through, not kind of, but on the halfway point of the third measure. So that the next segment starts right at the fourth. Now, we got a little bit of cleaning up we could do here. So what I'm going to do, bring these a little bit tighter. This is just a scratch track, so it literally doesn't need to be super musically right. But when it comes to using it for reference and playing along with it, you know, we at least need to be ballpark. So, and again, he didn't do this to a click. This was him just riffing off the top of his head or whatever had been going on in his mind for what this guitar line for this intro to this podcast would sound like. So now what I'm doing is I'm putting it in time so that we can build around it. And actually, I think, yeah. So we'll go ahead and cut that. Pull this. Here's what we'll do. Oh, I see what I did. Let's bring this all here. And then fix that. This should land right about. There we go. That looks right. Yep, so that first segment we got pretty well lined up. Again, I'm not worried about sound quality and whatnot. Just trying to get these kind of in the right place rhythmically. Those little hits will be important. Okay. Yeah, we are moving slower here. I'm going to speed this up. Yeah. So my initial reading was 160, and that's actually right. That's what happens when you use your eyeballs instead of your ears. I was looking at how it was lining up with the grid after I'd already heard and tested it, found 160, and then ended up moving it to my detriment. But we're back on track now. A little sped up there. So this part, this is curious to me. The timing of that, that's what I'm curious about. Also, I'm just check. Check. Just checking my mic levels real quick. Making sure I check. Okay, that should be a little bit better, avoiding some background noise. I'm learning this on the fly, so At any point you're in the chat or commenting after, let me know how levels are. Is voice too loud, music too loud? I doubt that's the case. So so here's where this could go. So it's on like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what it seems like to me. It's the best. So yeah, we might need to scoot this out. Okay, we're on time there. All right, get a little off here. See how that sounds? Yep. Okay, so again, if you're just tuning in, this might sound a little funny, but I've got a couple friends of mine who are starting a podcast asked me to write the intro music for it. I wanted kind of a rock, high energy, in your face kind of style. My friend, who's a singer, kind of just riffed some vocal lines that he was hearing for like guitar ideas. And so that's the audio that he sent me as kind of the inspiration. So that's what we're using. We're breaking it down right now to use as a scratch track. And after that, we'll be able to layer on drums, guitars, stuff like that. But it's all going to start with getting this. Again, he just riffed it, not sticking to a tempo or anything like that. Just kind of singing from the heart. And then I'm taking it, putting it into something that's a grid that we can use to keep time and whatnot. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm kind of just cleaning up how that looks. Again, let me know in the comments if you're hearing everything okay, if something needs to be louder or quieter, voice, my speaking, or my friend's voice, the music. So again, right now I'm just lining up tempo stuff. I think we scoot this up a bit. All right, I know this comes over here. This seems to get slowed quite a bit. Wonder. Okay, I think this comes out here. Yep. Bring this over here. And then my guess is, so just a big, yeah, kind of like how that ends. The halfway point of the 13th measure. Cool. Okay. So again, it sounds a little weird because it's just my friend's vocal recorded and then me chopping it up. Not really caring so much about preserving the quality necessarily. Now let me add a bit of EQ to this. Again, it's not important that this sounds great, but it's more important that it sounds like something that's easy to follow when tracking in the mix. It's not getting muddy. So we have a lot of this unnecessary noise. So sometimes what I like to do is I like to take some blank space. So we have all this noise here, but in particular I'm hearing, I don't know how well this comes through your speakers, but a lot of this low end here, but I can't really cut it out because that's where the body of the voice is. Sounds better though. So let me take out this click. I'll loop this section. Okay. So we got something workable there. I didn't create a project file for this. I'm gonna stick it on my desktop for now. Figure out where it goes later. Okay. I also add some compression because there's a lot of variability here. So I'm just squashing it really intensely. And the purpose of that, of course, is keep it even for the scratch track purposes. And get rid of some of this extra noise too. With a noise gate. I like the backing vocal. What I'm going to do here is lower the threshold to where I can hear this blank space. I don't really need stuff like that. So I'm going to raise that threshold until it disappears. Don't do that. Add a little fade here. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the fun stuff. I figured what's working in my brain to actually start with drums. So the way that I'm gonna do this is I've already got kind of an idea of where I'm going, and he even gave me a bit of an idea. But right now my brain is just working in terms of adding the rhythm and building the layers off of that. Probably bass after that. Kind of set the chord structure. Especially since I already have these melodies. So I'm going to use a very basic, just stock MIDI sample for now. So this isn't going to be the mixing and mastering phase, right? This is just getting to basically the bones of the project. This is setting the foundation, putting up the frames, the studs, maybe some drywall. But this isn't the painting and caulking yet. I'll pull you over to my drum set just a second. There we go. Do not want to use the audio. Let's go. Let me think. Nope, that's too retro. Yeah. Again, gonna use a totally different sample in the end, but I kind of want something that gets me there, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to repeat this section a few times, and then going to kind of figure out a groove that I like. I'll record in the meantime, but I probably won't even do that. But just going to play around. Find something that clicks. So, having this weird there we go. Nope. So there's an issue with the routing here. I have to go through the presets again and rework this, but I'm not going to do it for now. You just might not hear all of my hat strikes, basically. It's the way this is sending the MIDI. I don't know why it changed after I've reset it. But they will count, the hits will be counted, but I'll just have to go in and manually move them, whereas usually I wouldn't after rerouting it, but it's just how it's going right now. Go. I'm going to work section by section. Moves pretty quick in terms of moves on from segments. Yeah. So something that I'm working on with my kick is kind of this double beating sound. The little vibrations trigger it as if it's kicking. But I think I got something here. Okay. It's really painful with this kick. All these extra hits. All right, let's see. All right, so you see all these hits. These are the unaccounted for hat hits. All right, so I'm going to add a bit of quantization. But I don't like to go super heavy with it. Pull this up the side. Expand it here. Making sure we have 2 there. I'm also going to mess with this velocity a bit. Overall, all of these strikes are really intense. I want to tighten this up. A little too much of a drop there. And then I want this first strike to come in right on time. Ah, that's why. Way too early in general. So basically what I did was I brought a little quantization to it, and then kind of cleaned up some of the velocity issues. I want to make it more human, right? And with my kick, it's on a carpet, and I'm kind of treating it funny just because of all that wobbly stuff that's happening. I got to figure out a solution for that. So I wasn't hitting the kick quite as hard. And then, of course, the snare and hi-hat were treating it like I was just slamming into it, which I was playing heavy, but Definitely wasn't giving it 127 velocity out of 127. So again, here's our intro piece. We're going to slam into it. I kind of want to come up with a little something to break into this. Kind of feeling that. Let's get that a little cleaner. My sticks dropping. All right, so you see it's a really big velocity change there. Keep these real tight. And I'm kind of not sure if I want to go closed hat here. And I actually wonder. Try something. That feels better. That actually feels like it gives enough space here for that. I imagine a snare kind of like this, hingy, a little dirty, ringing through. Now, where could we go here? This actually does cut, but these samples that don't. Wonder if I've got, yeah. Huh. Okay. All right. Let's work on this now. All right, let me mute this mic. Here we go. At the end there, I don't really know if I want the or a crash where it goes right. Yeah, I think we need to add that beef in there. All right, let's try this. I think that one might be the workable one. Of course, I got to clean up all of this extra pick stuff. So again, basically because I have this wobbly effect going on with my kick pad, I'm This section I want tighter. Cool, pretty solid. Okay, so here's an issue I'm having. With me just wailing on it, it's registering these as all like max capacity hits. Don't want that. I want some human variance. Tighten this up a bit. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to humanize this. So go to MIDI transform under functions. So you select the MIDI notes, functions, MIDI transform, humanize. And this affects both the time. All right, where'd you go? There you go. Both the time and the velocity. I don't want the timing to be affected. I just want the velocity. So if you watch, these ride notes, see that? I'm going to bring this down just a hair. That gives us some variance in that velocity. These are not intentionally rim shots. See all the kicks. Get it a little bit tighter in velocity. I don't mind. I like some variance, but I like it to be nice and tight. There we go. So again, if you're just tuning in, what I'm doing is creating a intro for a podcast a friend of mine asked me to do. He's a singer, him and his brother doing a podcast, so he kind of riffed off some vocal stuff. That's what you see up here. This was kind of his idea for like a guitar part. And I cleaned that up, put it in a timing, and I'm basically now layering the different instruments that will be the song. This serves as the scratch track. So I'll come back later and make this probably guitar parts. Might do it exactly like he did. Might do it a little different. He told me it doesn't have to be exact like that. I just layered in these drums. So we'll give it a listen from top to bottom. Just click off. Okay, so again, just now starting to build in that stuff, and you can't use his voice as the perfect reference of how everything's going to sound. It's a little weird because of the shifting I did to it to make sure that the timing was right, so it's easier to follow. Give you guys a little more volume here, I think. Let me know in the chat if you hear my voice okay and the music. If something needs to be louder or quieter. Okay. Kind of want to add a little bit of a roll after this. I'm also going to clean this up a little. A little more punch there. I want these to be real meaty. A nice solid kick here. And again, I'll come back and put better samples on these drums. I'm just using stock instrument drums for now. So, rid of this latency a bit. Okay. Let's see how that went. Okay, I want a little more flam on that last one. Oh, it didn't even get my flam. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for the drum part. Wonder if I want to flam there too. Okay. Moving on from drums, we're gonna go to bass now. And unfortunately, I moved. I got rid of my bass. It was not a very good one. Got the job done, but it wasn't exactly high quality. Really struggled with intonation. Struggling right now with my coffee being empty. But so I have to use bass samples. So what key are we in? Ba-da, ba-da. Yeah. So he's singing the 2 and 3 of the scale. I'm gonna make a guess. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. D. Dang. Almost. C. A little sharp too, so I'm gonna pitch bend this just to bring it down. Okay, guess I can't do it there. Gotta do it here. What? Guess I can't do it there either. Okay. Here's what we'll do. Okay. Let's see what kind of bass I'm looking for here. Again, this is just a sample, stock sample, I mean. I'm going to pick better sounding samples for the mixing process. Not even necessarily deep in the mixing process, but just for now, I'm just fleshing out the notes. So something quick, simple, and easy. But I do want to get kind of ballpark of where I'm thinking. Ooh, felt pretty good already. Yeah, but that sounds... Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Kind of a pick instead of a finger plucked. Again, if you're just tuning in, I've been writing an intro for a podcast today. A friend of mine sent me the audio of his voice. He's a singer, just kind of riffing off what he felt like the guitar parts would be. It's a driving kind of rock style song. So I'm using his voice as a reference track, a scratch track, to build everything else around. So right now I've just finished the drums. Now I'm adding bass. And I could have the bass walk with that. But I feel like it's a little too much. Because once I add in the electric guitar, it feels like a little too much movement on the low end. But I do want that clickiness. So again, right now I'm just adding these bass notes. We're in the key of C. And I'm fine-tuning this. So what I really would do if I was actually playing a bass, again, I don't have one right now. When we moved, I got rid of my kind of junky one. I would actually scoop out of this note. So we're playing an E. Let's say I had a 5-string bass. I'd be playing on the 5th fret of the B string. And I'd be Do 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 do. A subtle scoop out. Do 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 do. I can kind of recreate that, but I'm not going to do it right now. But that's why I kind of let this bass, these two notes ring into each other, and then this one decay a little bit abnormal instead of landing. It gives a little space, so it cuts off, but I don't want to put it dead even. It just felt right to put it right there. And that part, I do kind of want to hit the bass and guitar together. And that's something I would slide up to. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Silly me. Yeah. All right, here we go. Yeah. Kind of repeat that. Kind of want to change something here though. Nah. It's too much there. I might go to the A. I don't know. Let's try G. This is something I'm probably going to change with the guitar line. I like this little B to C at the end. So if I mute the guitar reference. I like that a lot. Yeah, just to kind of transition into this space where the drums take up that little fill and then that empty ringing out. So here's just drums and bass. And of course that would be like a scoop out. Pretty quick though. So something like that. So let me show you an example of how I'm going to do this when I actually put in the finalized bass sample sound. In Logic, I'm going to go over to pitch bend here. And for the most part, I'm going to keep this at 0, which is no pitch bend at all. But then I'm going to introduce a sort of curve here. That might be a little too much, but what we'll do is... Oh, I forgot you can't do it on this. Yep. You have to kind of work it a little oddly. So, but this is how I would do it. Let me solo this. See how it kind of sounds like it bends out? Needs a little sharper drop. Something like that. There's actually a way to do it even better, and that would be the pitch shifter. No, I'm wrong. I cannot remember. There's another way where you can drop it like 2,000 cents. I'm gonna give this a little bit sharper. So, okay, again, if you're just tuning in, first of all, let me know if you're hearing everything okay. My voice, the music, if one needs to be even louder, or if one needs to be quieter. And what I'm doing is I'm writing an intro for a podcast. A friend of mine and his brother are doing a podcast, creating a podcast, and they asked me to do the intro. They want it kind of rocked out. He sent me some audio of him riffing off kind of a vocal line that's supposed to be like the guitar. So I'm basically using that as a scratch track. That's this piece up here, labeled guitar reference. I chopped it up, made it line up rhythmically. He said I don't have to stick exactly with it, but I think I'll stick with it for a lot of what he did, because it works pretty well once I actually play the guitar parts. But basically I threw that in here, made sure it all lined up, kind of did some arranging, and then I've added drums, and now I'm adding bass. These are just basic stock samples right now. I'm going to bring in heavy duty samples later in the mixing process, but for now it's just about hashing out the notes. So I'll play it from the top here. The bass is going to drop out during this silent part, and it won't come back in with everything else, but just a quick listen here. Now you're hearing his voice do some funny things. Again, that's because of the chopping up, arranging, and some pitch stuff I put on there. Not the best picture of what it's going to sound like. Kind of fun, actually, but it's just a scratch track essentially. So let's keep working on the bass part. I think here I do need to follow. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. Bob says, sounds excellent, sir. Scat guitar included. I'll let my friend know, Michael Maher. You can look up Michael Maher Band. I'll type that in the chat. He's got some killer Christian music out there. Kind of got like a real Third Day meets more Range, or some even say Creed. But crazy range, but great sounding, natural sounding voice, especially when he's not scatting, even though he's very good at that too. So here I think I've got to stick with I feel like I've got to stick with the main guitar line here for the bass. CBE. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, so I got to bring this pitch bend back up. So if you ever use that pitch bend, got to make sure it comes back up. Da-dun, da-dun. Yep. There we go. Must have scooted that on accident. So, for just following along here, I'm actually going to chop this because I think that that's part of the problem I'm having with this pitch bend thing. Nope. There we go. So then, sounds like he's hitting a B, but I wonder if we're going into the B flat or A. He drifts a bit. I'm going to try the B flat. I'm going to see what happens here. And just a helpful tip, you see I'm just basically copying and pasting because I've got a pretty consistent rhythm and movement, right? So I've got these 4 strikes of the same time, same length, same notes. So instead of just clicking 1, 2, 3, 4, I know that I'm going in all these segments that are 4s or 8s, so I can just copy paste. And pretty easy with a, if you just hold Option on the Mac, you don't actually have to even copy and paste. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if he meant to do the flat 7 there, the B flat, but I dig it. He probably did. And then we're coming right back here. Got some different notes there, but let's see. Might have just been the pitch correction getting him off. So we could follow here, right? But I wonder if we don't do something else. Go to that A minor. All right, so I'm gonna have to change this to flex pitch. I need to get real fine-tuned with the pitches here just because I need to make sure I'm going to the right space here. So let's pitch correct these 100%. And I'm actually going to. So if you're using Logic, flex pitch is kind of a melodyne sort of thing to change the pitch of a single note on an instrument. You could do this with any instrument. It really works best for clear instruments like a voice. It can work with a flute or a single guitar melody, things like that. So that's what I just did. I used flex pitch. You turn on this the flex symbol, or you could do it here. And then you choose what you're flexing. Most of this is about rhythm, but flex pitch there. And then what I did was I turned the pitch correction all the way up, so you can see it tightens the notes up. Some of them were off, so I scooted them. And what I'm also going to do is this vibrato function here. This is the variance of the voice within that note. I'm going to turn this all the way down. Not all the way, but makes it really robotic. Not something I would normally do on a voice, but again, this is a scratch track. And what I just need here is to get clarity on where I'm going. And because he's kind of running out of breath here and he's doing a lot of da-da-da-da-da-da, there's more variance there. So I just want to even it out to help myself kind of know where I'm going here. So that's that B flat note. I think those are okay. Yeah. So let me know what you think. Let me flesh this out. Let me get a couple more notes in because I'm thinking ahead. This is why I'm wanting to know about this note here, this A, which turns it into an A minor. But I'm also thinking ahead as to the overall context of the bass and what I'm about to be doing. So let me plug that in here. Okay, that's all I needed to do. Now if you listen to this whole little section, right? So I could follow his voice. Sounds cleaner that way, but I wonder if this is just a little more forward motion that fits. Or maybe even a G again. I keep rethinking that A note. Oh, that's why. I'm saying A and I was on a G, and then I said G and I'm on an F. I do like that G. Let me know what you think. Is this G better or is the C better? I'll show you the A and B of that. So that's the G. That's the C. Let me know what you think. I like the G, but I can only hear what I'm hearing. And the experience for other people is something I'm really intrigued in when it comes to music. Something I could do to help change this up is I could drop these an octave. It sounds really meaty, but I feel like it's too much, especially because I'm hitting that low tom. And again, I'm thinking in context, and my context is actually to drop to the low note here. So do another pitch bend here. Okay, so again, let me know in the chat. Do we want this G or do we think it's better with a C? Here's the G. Or the C. Let me know in the chat. I'm going to stick with the G unless I get some counsel from you otherwise. So let me know in the chat, and then we can reevaluate. I love to get the perspective an inside look at other perspectives when it comes to music, because as a songwriter, I'm hearing it from a perspective that I will never be able to get out of, right? So when we're writing songs, this is why sometimes you write something you think is killer. It's like, this is the perfect melody, the perfect rhythm. It's amazing. I love it. I enjoy it. But then it's like other people don't like it as much, and they pick another part of a song or another song that you think was more boring or didn't really feel right, and they like that better. We just have this bias when we're writing songs that we're seeing it from the creator lens. And it's impossible to remove yourself from that as a songwriter, which is part of the beauty of making art in general, right? It's impossible for the artist to see outside of their perspective of their creation. And yet it's also impossible for everybody else to get into the exact mindset of the creator. So the experience is always going to differ between creator and consumer. Sometimes there's overlap, right? Sometimes there's a lot of things that, we both feel really good about the melody. It makes us feel happy or exciting or sad or whatever. But the fact is, as a creator, we will never, ever be able to see our own art from the perspective of a consumer. You just can't make it happen, because we have the natural bias of seeing it from the internal context that no one else can relate to on a 100% degree. We see the end from the beginning. We see the hopefuls, the possibilities, the variabilities. And that's just not something you can actually paint into the picture. So anyway, that's why I value the input of people when I'm writing music. That's why I actually, even though I'm producing my own stuff, I actually really love producing with other people, because sometimes they just have an idea of something. You present a piece of your song, your art, you present a piece of what you feel is best, and then they have a different perspective, and they might change one note or the tone of it or something like that. And you realize, wow, that was so much better. I just never would have imagined that. So I love co-writing with people for that purpose. So let me know, again, are we feeling better with the G note or the C note that follows the guitar here? Bob says, my imagination adds details which don't translate to the mix. LOL. Totally understand that. I'm right there with you. My imagination is a very wild and elaborate place, as I'm sure yours is, Bob, and becomes very hard to translate. So again, we'll run through this one more time with the G and then the C, and just let me know. And if not, we'll stick with the G. So that was the G. Here's the C that follows the melody. Okay, let me know. Let's go from the top here, and this will kind of conclude us for today. We'll get to guitar another time, which I am excited for. I just got guitar rig, so usually I'm playing out of, I'm using this Fender Telecaster, and I'm playing out of a Vox AC-15. I love the amp, but for tracking, there's just a lot of technology that has gone a long way, and so something like this, I'm going to use Guitar Rig to kind of dial in the tones that I want a little more, but I've never used Guitar Rig, and so I thought about doing it on today's session, but we're running out of time. We're pretty much out of time. I got to get going, but I thought about doing it live and you guys watching me fumble around, but we're not going to get to that today. But what we did Again, just a quick recap. My friend and his brother, who is also my friend, but my friend Michael I've known for many years now, and then his brother, who I've known on and off for a few years. I've met him several times. They're creating a podcast. They're awesome. Michael Maher band is my friend, his band. I mentioned it in the chat. They are asking me to put together an intro for their podcast. So they wanted to go really rocked out, really high energy, kind of in your face feel. And so he sent me, Michael did, some audio of him singing, kind of just riffing off of the melodies in his mind for how the guitar might go. He said it's up to me, doesn't have to follow it exactly, but I think there's some really good stuff there. So I think there's gonna be minimal changes, but you'll hear this guitar reference track. That is his voice. I went ahead and chopped it up, aligned it with the proper rhythms, and did some arranging so that I could build off of it. And then I added drums and I added bass. These are stock instruments from Logic. I'm going to add better samples in here towards the mixing process. I won't even necessarily wait till the mixing process, but as we get closer to finishing writing the notes and the different parts, then I'll start working on actually bringing in the real tone. But for now, these are kind of just stock instruments that fit in the ballpark of where I wanted to go. I wanted a real punchy drums where the snare kind of rings out. And then I've got, nice beefy kick toms that are kind of dry and punchy. The bass, I want a really kind of rocked, picked sound. Again, I would have played this, but I got rid of my bass when I moved. It wasn't a very good bass, but something really gritty. The sample was called Growl, something like that. Rock Growl. Fit right in there. So, all right, let's do one last listen through. If you have any thoughts on it, any ideas on it, please let me know in the chat. I'm totally open to instrument ideas, maybe rearranging some parts, some things. I've got some creative ideas for some vocal stuff. They're both singers, so they don't know this yet, but I might ask them to, at home, record a couple little just background shouty stuff. But without further ado, here's what we have so far with the guitar reference. It's going to sound funny because it's a vocal part that's chopped up and rearranged. The bass and the drums. Okay, I got one thing I want to change. So I did play these drums for real. My drum kit. It's this little... I was going back and forth between doing kind of a natural, gradual, fluctuation. Kind of like that. I don't like it. I want to keep this pretty straightforward. So I'm going to keep these velocity, these strikes pretty consistent. It just feels more in your face, which is more what I'm going for here. There's still some variance. That's fine, because I don't want it to be robotic. But too much variance was a little more flowy, and I'm not looking for flowy in this part. Oh, I'm realizing I was muted. I was talking that whole time. I'm having second thoughts on this too. I think I'm going to... Let me think here. Nah. I might do something else there, but the creative juices are a little fatigued, and I don't know if I'm hearing it right. Meaning, I don't know if my brain is giving me the right feedback. All right, guys, that wraps it up for me. So, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. I'm really, I started doing this, I think, 4 weeks ago now. So I'm really aiming to do Friday around 10 a.m. Eastern time every Friday. Might do some Wednesdays, but I really enjoy songwriting live. It's been really fun having some good feedback, some suggestions. You might have come to this channel having found one of my shorts where pieces of music that I'm writing are shown, and I really enjoy the feedback and getting to, like I was talking about earlier, get a little perspective of the consumer side. So like and subscribe. That helps this video find more people like you. So it's really important if you want to help me out and this channel, and we can all do this together. If you like this video, it tells YouTube that people like you who have similar tastes and interests are people that should be shown these videos. So that'd be a big help if you liked it. And if you subscribe, you'll be notified whenever I go live. So make sure you hit that notify bell as well. And yeah, I look forward to continuing to do this. I really appreciate you guys sticking around. I've been doing it at 10, but I'm finding more people seem to get on around 11 or noon. Or I haven't really pushed it to noon yet, but around 11, 11:30. So I might end up pushing this later, but we'll see. But either way, I'm a small channel. I've just started really kind of being consistent on this. And I'd really love to see a little more growth so that I can get more feedback on these things and more ideas and just have a blast writing with you guys. I'll be releasing other kinds of content as well. Things that I write, things that I work on, but also creative tips, educational stuff. So really appreciate it. Rob says, rock on. See you on the sunny side. Hey, man. Appreciate it. This past 2 weeks you've been showing up. It's been awesome. So I hope you even saw, Bob, your feedback made it into one of my shorts recently. So you'll have to check that out. But again, thanks guys. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.